What is samsara? There is a saying in the Sanatana Dharma tradition, in a boiling pot, it is never cool. That is what samsara is. Samsara is a boiling pot. And when the pot boils, water bursts, splashes out of it. What relationship should there be with the pot? You have to be careful at a distance. And the main quality of a sadhu is that he knows how to keep a distance with samsara. He knows how to keep samsara at a distance. Because samsara is a conditioned perception. It is the external world when we perceive it in conditioned perception. It's our clouded mind, and it's our own worldly desires too. It is also the influence of the astrological planets. The elements of nature. This is the influence of demons, gods, and spirits. All this is a big samsara. That is material, ethereal nature that influences us. And such influence of nature is threefold. Adhyatmika klesha means suffering and influence brought by one's own mind and one's own prana. Adhibautika klesha means problems from outside, such as diseases, earthquakes, cold, wind, hurricanes, or any limitation of the gross elements. Adhibautika comes from outside nature, wars, and problems from other people. And Adhidayvika, what comes from inside, from the subtle world, from the subtle body, daiva, means something uncontrollable, something divine, established by the higher hierarchs, by divine beings. These are the various planets, grahas. The embodied law of karma that is realized in our subtle body, the influence of spirits and demons, viknas, obstacles, and all this is samsara. Moreover, how do we treat such samsara? Of course, you have to keep your ear to the ground with it. It is a very dangerous, very cunning, and strong opponent. You have to treat it as an opponent. And with an opponent, anyone who has practiced martial arts knows you have to be able to keep a distance. You have to be able to evade it. You have to be able to maneuver so that the opponent did not hit you. And in most cases, samsara hits everyone who lives in it sooner or later. No matter how hard a person tries to live for 70 years, 80 years, or 90 years, it hits everyone one way or another. It enters first little by little. A person is born. It has already entered him because the fact of birth in samsara means already getting a body in it. It is the samsara that hit the soul as a target. Then one gets an education, goes to school, and starts a family. It means samsara has got into him once again. Then he gets a job, getting involved in something, worries, agonizes, suffers, gets into different collisions of relations, achieves something, rejoices. All this means falling into samsara. Samsara hits us with arrows that are flying at us. It is not only a figurative expression, it is also an energetic fact. For example, when a person quarrels with someone, the energy of the subtle body can hit him. Having thoughts of another person, it is also getting into samsara. So samsara enters us, and what happens? When samsara enters us, it means we become identified with its energies, lose the innate freedom of realization, and lose the innate divine bliss. Here is the innate joy of our own mind, in Sanskrit called manasa kalpita sahaja anandam. So our own mind, our own nature, has an innate joy, an innate sense of purity and grandeur, beauty and harmony, openness, eternity, and infinity. It is something innate in us. We, by natural law, possess this feeling of innate joy, innate infinity, innate purity, innate perfection, and innate holiness. We are divine particles, divine souls. Our nature is primordial, original, divine. And so we have this innate joy of our own nature of mind, manasa kalpita sahaja anandam. Well, when samsara hits us as a target, and we are its target, it will hit us, and then we lose this innate joy. Something gets knocked off us as if the inner navigation gets knocked off. We fall into doubt, faithlessness, despondency, depression, confusion, and the feeling of I can't or I am limited. Samsara is a dangerous opponent. But the sadhu is not afraid of it. It is wrong to be afraid of samsara. On the contrary, the sadhu is fearless. He cultivates the qualities of strength and wisdom, and he learns to beat his opponent. And in the higher stages, he even learns contemplation, that he does not fight with samsara at all and simply becomes invisible to samsara. Thus, the sadhu learns to keep a distance from samsara to defeat it and beat it, because samsara is not just a concept, not just words. In that story, when a layman in Tibet kept hearing his guru saying that you have to leave samsara, you have to renounce samsara, you have to get away from samsara. Eventually, one day, he put on orange robes and said that he had left samsara. The villagers were surprised and said, "How did you do it?" He said very simply, "I wore orange pants." That is the robe of a monk. However, samsara is not a concept. And simply changing something external will not achieve victory over samsara. Samsara is energy. Samsara is the stream of our karma, in which our consciousness is entangled. Samsara is the all-dual false representation of our mind and perception. Samsara is three rings. The subject is us, our personality. The object is everything visible around us, the whole world around us, with society, nature, and the universe. And the process of perception, our interaction, and our visual and olfactory auditory consciousness, and our mind reflecting the external world. So these are the three rings of samsara: subject, object, and perception. Moreover, to conquer samsara, to be free from samsara, means to break one of the three rings of samsara, or to realize that the subject has the nature of emptiness and that the subject is Shiva, is Brahman. To realize the principle of Shivoham, I am Shiva. Or to realize that the external world is void, that it has no nature, that it is like a magical dream, that it is a complete illusion, that its nature is voidness and luminosity, and that the external world is the play of the energies of the Absolute. Change your attitude to the world and discover the emptiness of the external world. Alternatively, change your perception of this world. When perceiving it, see this world as a pure, manifested play of divine energies. Moreover, this is how the sadhu establishes a distance from samsara. When the sadhu establishes this distance, he starts drinking the nectar of renunciation. This is the greatest sweet nectar that the sadhu revels in, by which he drinks bliss, and it never ends. It is called Tyaga Amrita. The nectar of renunciation arises through distance with samsara. As soon as we establish distance with samsara, we start feeling God. We start feeling divine grace, divine mercy. So often I say to my disciples, if something is not working, something is not coming out, just increase your renunciation. Just practice, and detach yourself from it. Moreover, you can solve many problems just by renunciation, at least at the initial stage. When a sadhu drinks the nectar of renunciation, he begins to perceive God, in the aspect of Niranjan, which means spotless, untainted, pure. It is synonymous with Shiva Nirguna Brahman. And there is such an expression as Jnana Gyan Niranjan. Pure jnana, that is, pure knowledge, begins to flow into him. This is the result of correct relations with samsara. When we build wrong relations with samsara, no matter with external samsara or internal samsara, such a result is suffering. Here, suffering is a sign that some wrong relationship has been built with samsara. Somewhere we approached this boiling pot carelessly, and it began to burn. We were hit, Samsara hit us. Arrows of samsara hit our subtle body, mind, and soul. Somewhere we failed to move fast enough to get ahead of samsara, or failed to be invisible to samsara. Moreover, samsara, in the form of our thoughts, false perceptions, or external influences, somehow began to affect us strongly. But if we look at people, society, and living beings, they are influenced by it. Everyone is living like this, hit by the arrow of samsara. That is in everyone, generally from the very birth, and all living entities are influenced by it. Only sadhus, those who get away with it, they can say, samsara arrows do not hit sadhus. And in Jnani, as a high category sadhu, samsara arrows do not reach at all. Some may say, well, how can it be? Are sadhus and jnanis any special? Do they not feel hungry or cold? Do they not suffer in the body? Do they not get sick and die? We can say yes, from the point of view of the physical plane, yes. But sadhus and jnanis attain wisdom and separate themselves from samsara to such an extent that they do not consider themselves bodies, and when samsara enters their body, they do not suffer. Samsara cannot enter their mind or their consciousness, so they attain liberation. Even if their bodies may suffer or die, they have already pre-created other bodies in which they can exist perfectly. This is the art of the sadhu as being at a distance from samsara. Moreover, what is moksha? It is liberation. When we separated ourselves so far from samsara, and established such a distance from samsara that it could not reach us, we became beyond its reach. And moksha dharma is the way, how to increase the distance with samsara so much that samsara can't even come near us in any way. That is the path of liberation.
Om Namaste.